All right, to clarify a few questions about assignments, let's take a look at Unit 1 as an example. So for tests, you'll notice that you have two different versions of the test, and that will be true for each of the chapters. I expect everybody to do version 1, and if you don't get the score that you want, everyone also has the option to do version 2. Now, if let's say you're working on version 1 and I don't know, maybe a relative dies or something like that, and you can't finish version 1 for whatever reason. Maybe your kid got sick, I don't know. Don't worry about it, turn in what you have, I'll grade what you have, and then you'll have the opportunity to do version 2 to try to improve the score. Now, each one of them is due on a particular day, so the days are listed on the due date section. We'll look at that in just a minute. For the passage problems, those are set up the same way. Notice there's a version 1 and there's a version 2. So down here in red, what I tried to indicate was the due dates for each one of those. Now, if you click on these, what they'll do is they'll take you to a PDF file, and then this is the link that'll actually take you to the Google form where you're actually going to submit the work. So let me see if it'll click on that and take us there. Okay, maybe it won't. Open link in new tab. There we go. Alright, so let's open this tab off to this side. So let's say that did not go off to the side. So let's say you're going through here and you're going to answer these. So you put in your name. We'll just call this example. You pick the class. Most people watching the video probably be in the online class, although you could be in the on-campus class too. And then the questions are actually over here. So you will have to go through the reading and then go through and choose the answer. So let's say this answer, and so on. Now I can go through and answer the rest of these. Notice what they'll do is they'll match up with the question. I don't have the questions posted on the Google form yet. Well, I might eventually get around to doing that, but right now I just was using the form to collect the data. And so you choose whatever your answers are, and then when you get down to the bottom here, you'll click submit, and then that'll record everything. Now let's say you went through there and you realized, oh, I don't think I answered number 80 correctly. I have this set up so you can actually submit another response. So you could click here, and now it'll ask you the same questions again, because what I have it set up to do is just to record your name and your class. And so you can put a number of different tries in before the due date. That's okay. I'll grade the last one that's date stamped. But after the due date, it won't do any good because I won't look at it after the due date. After the due date, what you'll have to do is go to that version 2. So let me go back over here. Then you'll be, whoops, took me out too many. Get back. So after the due date for version 1, if you realized you made a mistake or you wanted to try to improve, that's when you have to click on passage set 2. So then it has its own link and it'll bring up its own set. It'll look just like this one. So here, why don't I actually bring it up here just to show you. Let's see, open. Oh, it's actually going to create a new tab. Just a minute here. Let's bring this one over. There we go. So notice it looks the same format, still asks for your name, still asks for the class. And the same thing is going to be true. I can go through here. Okay, let me set this up as so I know example. Don't put example, make sure you put your name. Otherwise I won't know who did it. And then choose your class and then choose whatever the answers happen to be. Notice you still have the reading set that goes with it and then the questions, reading and questions. The number goes with the response over there. 90, there we go. So we've got 90, 91, 92, and so on. So these ones go with the questions that are off to the left. Get through there, so let me click a few more here as I go down. and then click submit. And so that will then record your responses. Just like with the first set, if you happen to think you made a mistake or something like that, you want to go back and change something, you can up until the due date. And so just to reiterate here, due dates, let me go back on this side. So version 2 of the passage sets will be due the same time test 2 is due. Version 1 of the passage problems will be due the same time the problem set 1 is due. And those are clearly outlined. Whoops, why does it keep doing that? Those are clearly outlined here on iNet underneath assignments. So notice the due dates and time for each of the assignments is located right here on iNet. Now I'm having you turn everything into iNet just because I originally wanted to use Google Classroom, but they didn't have any Google Classroom set up yet for us to use. And so that's why we still have to submit officially on iNet. But I recommend that you share a folder with me from Google Drive, just because that will allow you to scan anything in that you need to scan in. It'll also allow you to organize your files, and it'll basically provide you with a backup location. So once you have the assignment ready to go, then you'll just transfer it from Google Drive into whichever one of these drop boxes you need to put it in. So if you've been working on the test, you'll get it all compiled into one PDF document. You'll click here, and I think your view might look slightly different. Yeah, my view looks different than yours. It should give you a little window here to attach a file. I think it gives you this reading here. You should see that part. But then you should also have a box that'll allow you to attach your test. And so that's what you'll do to turn your test in. You'll do the same thing to turn in any one of the other assignments. Just go to assignments here. And for your problem set, click there. Again, yours will actually give you a box to put it in. And so the only thing I'm having you use Google Drive for is to organize your work and to provide a backup. Occasionally in the past, a few people have had problems with the Dropbox on iNet. If you accidentally submit the wrong file, for some reason there's not a way I can clear it out. And so then what I'll tell you to do is, okay, well, make sure that's in your Google folder, because then I can just go back over to your Google Drive. And this is what I'll be able to see. I'll put everybody's folder in here, and so I'll be able to click on your folder and see what you've put in there. And so that's what I mean by we'll use that as a backup. Don't usually have to refer to the backup, but it's always good to have one. Okay, so that takes care of the versions, and let's go back here. No, not there. There we go. So that takes care. That should answer the questions related to what is the reasoning behind versions 1 and 2. Do I have to do both, and so on. All right. The next thing I should talk about is in this getting started section. I did mention. Actually, I'm not sure if I mentioned it. I think I might have added it after I made the introductory video. But you do need to have a proctor for 3 of your tests. Now, it's not the tests we just looked at. The unit tests, as you will actually be posted down there, those you can do wherever you want. The 3 that I'm talking about for the proctor are explained a little bit more if you scroll all the way down to the bottom here to proctored tests. And it's 2 of them are conceptual tests. One's for Unit 1 and 2. The other's for Unit 6. And then the 3rd test is the final exam. Now these ones you will need a proctor, because what I'll do is I'll send the test to whoever you decide to be as your proctor, and then you will arrange a time to meet with your proctor to complete the test, and then your proctor will actually send me the test then. And so I put a few details here about each one. The first one covers concepts only from Unit 1 and 2. It'll be multiple choice. You won't get to use a calculator or an equation sheet, but you won't need either one because it's just over reasoning. I suppose one way to think about what the questions would look like is they would be the closest, or they would be somewhat similar to the questions in the Tipper's book. So if I go back up here and I bring up the problem sets, they would be closest to these ones. Now these ones do often ask you for numbers, but some of them don't. Some of them will just ask you about the reasoning behind the problems. That's what type of questions to expect, just the reasoning type questions. You won't be asked for numbers, not in that first test. All right, so then that second one will be over Unit 6. And this one will ask you for a few numbers. And so this one you can use your calculator and you can use your equation sheet. Again, you take it with your proctor. Just set up a time. This one will take between 30 and 60 minutes. The first one also takes between 30 and 60 minutes. It just kind of depends on how long you like to test. Now, I don't limit it to 60 minutes. You can take as long as you like. Just arrange that time with your proctor. Most people don't go over 60 minutes, though, so if you needed to give your proctor a time that you would need, just tell them 60 minutes or an hour. Or if you want longer, tell them 90 minutes, whatever you need to do. Okay, so then for the final exam, now the final exam is comprehensive. It'll consist of 6 questions. Now, when I say 6 questions, I mean questions kind of like what we've had for the chapter tests. So if you take a look at, I guess as I make the video here, the only ones I have posted are for Unit 1. So let's take a look at the test for Unit 1. And so this is what I mean by questions. I actually mean problems. So like for this test, problem 1, there are actually looks like 4 questions that go with problem 1, but I consider that a single problem. And then problem 2 down here, or maybe not. Doesn't want to scroll down. All right, don't know why it doesn't want to scroll. There we go. Anyway, problem 2, so there's 4 parts to problem 2, and then you have a video that you have to analyze. Problem 3, okay, you've got a graph that's posted there, and then I guess 3 questions about the graph. Those are the types of questions. That's the format also for the questions that you'll see on the final. All right, let's go back here. Go back down. The final, it's designed to take 90 minutes. That's because I have it modeled after the AP Physics B test. Most people usually take around 2 hours, but again, I don't limit the time that you have. I've had some people take 3 hours. If you like to take 3 hours, just make sure you reserve 3 hours with your proctor. It's up to you. And so the best way to study for the final is to review the problems that we've had in the tests. And also on the Google Drive, I have a folder. Let me click on Google here. Go in here. I have a folder specifically labeled for final exam practice questions. And so if you take a look at those, what these are is they are the AP Physics B tests that have been released, at least through 2013. Now I have them organized here, and I have a little video here that I guess I could talk about that. I don't need to talk about how to study for it right now. So just, I guess, look at that video right there. Let me click back over here. All right, I think that should answer most questions. So the proctor you just need for these 3 tests. And again, you won't need it until after Unit 2. If you look at our schedule up here at the top, Unit 2, let's see, here's our calendar, if you like this version of it. So you won't need your proctor until sometime around the middle of February. Now, I don't have a specific date that you have to do it. basically I want it done before spring break sometime. I think if I look back at what I wrote, I think I gave you a time interval. Yeah, just sometimes during the month of March. That would be sufficient. So anytime from the middle of February to March. The specific date is up to you. In terms of who can be your proctor, let's see, did I list those? I may have listed that up here. Okay, yeah, I listed a little bit about that up here. Your friend can't be your proctor, but if you have a teacher or a pastor or a boss, kind of depends where you are. Or if you're at another college, just go to the college testing center. Just about every college has a testing center, and ask to have a proctor from the test center. Once you do find out who your proctor is going to be, make sure you have your proctor send me an email so that I know I can communicate with them. Okay, I think that should answer questions about the tests, proctor, that type of thing. Again, if you have any other questions, make sure you let me know. That should be it.